Good morning, Lynette Westendorf here. Rebecca, nice to see you. We are here to talk about rhythm today. This is our second of our music theory videos. And rhythm is such a fun one to think about and really very simple because it all has to do with simple fractions. So, rhythm. I'll erase this and get started here. With this, as your first note is a whole note. And it equals 4 beats. You've probably seen notes written on a staff. Maybe you've never seen notes written on a staff. Maybe I was thinking about this morning, who our target audience is. And I'm thinking about singers who sing by ear, who have a wonderful voice, who can sing, but they really want to hone in on what they're seeing on the page. If you're an orchestra musician, you already read music, but you might kind of play along by your rhythms by ear as well. But what I want to do is kind of demystify the whole rhythm thing. And I imagine there are a lot of really good musicians out there, the guitar playing, folk type musicians, mandolin players, guitar players, who play really well and haven't learned to read rhythm at all or music at all. So anyway, that's who I'm talking to today. This is a whole note. It gets 4 beats. A beat, just what you think it is. It's a steady pulse, just like your heart, just like a pendulum. This is a good way to think about a beat. Just set yourself up on your elbow with a pendulum. Keep it very regular. I'm going to keep my speed today that we talk about kind of a medium slow. So a whole note, we get 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That would be 3 whole notes. This is a half note. And it equals 2 beats. So the difference is you have a note head and you have a stem. The stem can go down as well as up. Gets 2 beats. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Simple fractions. If I write this, I get that. 2 half notes equal whole notes. Simple fractions. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. The next subtraction is half of the half note, which is circled in. And next week I'll remember my whiteboard. It's a little bit easier to write. But this is a quarter note. It equals 1, and that's our basic unit of rhythm that you'll see in almost all time signatures, not all, but almost all time signatures. Our quarter note is our beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. That would be quarter note, quarter note, quarter note, quarter note. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that equals 4 quarter notes per whole note, or 2 quarter notes per half note. Simple fractions. The whole note would represent a whole measure in 4/4 time. So now we're going to talk about meter, which is why I have a staff written up here. These 5 lines are called a staff. This is called your time signature. In this case, it's 4 beats, 4/4 time, 4 beats per bar, and the quarter note equals 1 beat. These are bar lines, and this space between here and here, here and here, here and here, you can see here, those are called measures. We're measuring out the music that's going to get played, we're measuring out the time, we're measuring out all the notes, the melodies, the phrases, everything is divided up into countable sections called bars or measures. So let's see, if I have, I'm going to do some clapping here now, I'm just going to sit here on the edge. If I'm doing, if I'm counting a series of quarter notes, these will be quarter notes. What you're hearing is a series of beats. You're not hearing a meter yet because there's no stress. In order for it to become musical, it needs to have a little bit of stress. It needs to dance. In this case, in 4/4 time, it's a little bit of stress on 1 and a secondary stress on 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. And all of a sudden it becomes more musical. That is the difference between a meter and just a series of beats. Counting. You've heard me do, since we started here, a lot of counting. We almost never count any greater than 4 beats or 4 articulations at a time. It might be a subdivision of a measure, it might be a subdivision of a beat, but we divide, at least at this point where we're talking about simple meters, we divide things into groups of 4. I'm not going to use a staff here. We have, for example, 4 quarter notes. There's a little bit of stress on beat 1, secondary stress on beat 3, and we count these just up to 4. If I had 2 half notes, we're still counting up to 4, and if I have a whole note, we're still counting to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you'll say that this was kind of strange because I can't have a clap have a duration. I can only have the articulation. So I'm going to actually sit over here at the piano a little bit. You don't need to see the piano, but you're going to hear it. So I'm just going to do a little noodling here in this rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You see, that rhythm is what makes our music. You may think, oh, I've got it down. It's a cinch. All I have to do is count to 4. That's true. But if you don't count it, you won't get it. So you have to be the conductor of your own music. Conductor is in control of every aspect of the rhythm, phrasing, of the melodies, of the structure, but they are in control of the rhythm. And that pulse has to be steady, like your heartbeat, pendulum, and you have to count it with your voice. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to add one more group of notes today, another subdivision, and that's the subdivision of a quarter note. So what if we want to have, we'll just do this, 2 quarter notes and a half note. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. What if we want a note in between here? So we divide the quarter note in half, just like you have a cup of flour, and now you have 2 half cups of flour. You divide this in half, and you connect the 2 notes. I'm going to make an upside down version. What this is called a flag. If we have more than one, we typically hook them together with what is called a beam. And now we have 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3, 4. These are 8th notes. An 8th note has a stem, a solid body, and a flag, and it gets half a beat. We also have 16th notes, we have 32nd notes, we have 64th notes, and we have 128th notes, and we have all kinds of rhythmic superimpositions called tuplets, and we have dots. Those are pretty much all the components of the visual part of reading rhythm. To start with, we're going to take it as far as 8th notes. 2 8ths equal a quarter, 2 quarters equal a half, 2 halves equal a whole, and you have to count. I'm going to give you one more meter. You'll like this one. And this is actually my second favorite meter. This is 3/4. This is the waltz. This is the minuet. If we have 3 quarter notes, oops. 3 quarter notes per measure. 1, 2, 3. We have a slight stress on beat 1. There's our stress that makes it a waltz. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's add 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So these are all the combinations we have now that add up to 3. I'm going to add one new note, which is the dotted half note. Half note with a dot, it's called a dotted half, and that equals 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Let me play this a couple times. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Counting all the time to make sure that we don't pause at the bar line, to make sure that we don't speed up, to make sure that we don't drag or slow down. These are the basics of our beginning rhythm. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. We're going to come back in the future and talk about more complex rhythms. But in the meantime, you need to be counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3.